Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 6 o'clock in Chicago and 7 p.m. right here in Big Apple, New York City. Hello, everybody. I'm Mad Dog Scipio for What's the Buzz, America's Podcast. Tonight, a very special edition of For the Record. And joining me, God help me again. Joining me is Amelia the Pitbull Chapman. How you doing, Amelia?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, do I even want to know? What are you in up to here lately?
Nothing, just home here, relaxing. And
Well, you've been home for a couple of days. What's going on? Are you catching up on like cleaning and cleaning up Jeff's mess around the house and
spring
Joseph
cleaning and
the rest of the crew there, the dogs and
yeah, just spring cleaning. And actually, I've been unemployed now, so I'm looking for work.
well, you know what? You're not going to be unemployed long. I can assure you that. Somebody with enough sense is going to call you and say, "Hey, Pitbull, come over here."
All right.
I'm sure you'll find something. Today was a very, very active day in the news. A lot going on today, particularly. I should tell everybody. We were going to do, Amelia and I were going to do a show tonight. We were going to bring you the case of Jack the Ripper, because there have been new developments in the identity of Jack the Ripper. But so much news, breaking news today from the world of wrestling, particularly the Vince McMahon sex scandal, sex trafficking trial, okay?
That's just the shake my head kind of thing.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Today, let me tell you something. Man, you have to shake your head.
I know, that's what I was like.
Shake your head at this. Like, I read this stuff, and I'll tell everybody in a minute what I'm talking about. But because you already know, I read this stuff, and I put my hand up against my face, and I just shook my head and thought, and they think that poor people are twisted? That the stuff that poor people do is bad? Wait a minute. It's 10 times up, 50 times worse with people who have money. Because people who have money have, follow me now, too many dollars and not enough cents, if you see what I'm according to my head. All dollars and no cents, okay? Right. And God help him. God love him. I hope, you know what, God, I hope you're merciful on this poor bastard. Vince McMahon. Oh, my God. Oh, Vinnie Mac is at it again. Let me tell everybody what happened today, in case you haven't heard. I'm laughing. Because you know what we're doing tonight. That's why I'm laughing. The courts have released, ready for this, folks. The courts have released the love letters from Janel Grant. Yes, they released the love letters. And you are going to hear them tonight, as some of them in all their sordid detail. All right. You'll see a little video we put together, and then I'll walk you through the drudgery. I promise you I will. Oh my goodness, what a mess. Anyway, so what do you think of this, Amelia? I know you know a little bit about this. You were checking out the news too. So what do you think? First of all, let's go back to the beginning. What do you make this whole sort of crazy trial?
I was just surprised that it came out all of a sudden, and if these letters are either gonna hurt him or help him, either way. You know.
Interesting you say that. It's really interesting you say that because Vince McMahon has got this uncanny way of turning chicken shit into chicken liver.
Exactly.
He really does. He's got this way, and we've seen it time and time again. When back in the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, with the steroid scandal,
Yes.
he beat the federal government. He beat the government and stayed out of jail. You have to be pretty damn good.
Exactly.
Now, some time goes by, and then, of course, the late Owen Hart, God rest his soul, he dies during a WWE event. Doesn't Vince come out of that smelling like a rose too? All right.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. I don't think the Hart family cared too much for it, but
Nope.
he came out smelling like a peach. Now you got this sex trafficking, sex scandal, what they're just calling it what it is.
Yeah.
It's a depravity scandal. I mean, this guy, we read, I just shake my head. We read this, the complaint. I'm going to tell you something, folks. And I mean this. This is some sick stuff.
It is very.
This is some really, really over the top, sick, twisted, kinky, like really dirty, kinky shit. I mean, everybody's got a little freak to them. Okay, I get that. We all have a little freak. But this goes beyond freak. This goes right into the cesspool. Okay? This is in the deep part of the pool of freak. All right? This is not getting your toes wet, freak. This is I'm up to my friggin' ears in freak. And I'm liking it. Like I'm not even going to, because I went through this before, and it's kind of disgusting to even say this stuff. So I'm not going to, but I will say this. There were sexual acts of depravity in here that would make Caligula look like a celibate monk to steal a movie line. Okay? And I will tell you that complaint is not for the faint of heart to read.
Right.
It was pretty brutal. Amelia, you read some of it, right?
Yeah, it's the letters too, and the complaint that she did, what she took him to court for, and I was like, why in the world would you let him do that to you? And then
Thank you.
you have to stay in the office and you can't go anywhere
This
to
is
clean yourself
that's
up.
what I'm
Oh,
talking about. Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. And
yeah.
so we'll tell everybody. Okay, so here's what happened, folks. Today, the love letters were released from the court. All right. So now, you didn't even know there were love letters, did you, folks? Well, guess what? Neither did we.
Hey, we didn't either.
There was a surprise to us, too. That's
Yeah.
why we changed the Jack the Ripper show to the Vince McMahon show
Yeah.
tonight.
Yes.
Um,
And like I said, it's either gonna hurt him or help him,
Well,
or
tell
it's gonna hurt
everybody.
her or help her. Either way.
Well, and I want you to take a few minutes, and give everybody, give them an education, explain to them what we're talking about.
Well, just like one
I'll
of the
even give you the big camera tonight.
Well, just like one of the quotes from one of the letters, "The day of you makes my day begin. The tune of your laugh makes my heart sing along," is one of the quotes.
Oh wait, and then if I remember right now, hold
Uh-huh.
on, let me. Let
That's
me
just
get this. Is this the one that says, oh God, please, I hope it's the right one. Is
yeah.
this the one that says, your ups, your lows, your brow furrows, your joys, your woes
Yes.
are the
Uh-huh.
second nature to me now, like
Yes.
breathing in and out.
Mhm.
This woman,
Yes.
here we go. It
Mhm.
says, here we go again. Draft number 24.
Yeah.
Most people sit down, they write a love letter, you know, dear John, I love you, blah, 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 love
Mhm.
Susie, right?
Right.
This woman went through 24 drafts to get this letter right. But
Yes.
then again, she's a trained secretary, okay? Or well, that's what she said she was
That's
anyway.
what she says she was,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
if she were really a trained secretary, it wouldn't have took her 24 drafts to get it right. She'd have got it done on like
Yeah.
maybe number 2.
Right, right, and then, like, she didn't know who he was at first, and then but, immediately, she was the missing piece that clicked and made her life complete.
Oh, here's what it says, and it's
It's
funny
just
you say that because
I was
it
like,
says, I didn't like you.
uh-huh,
I didn't like you the first day I met you, but I
right,
immediately knew that a missing piece
mhm,
had clicked into place the moment I saw your face. I
exactly, and I
love
was
you straightforwardly without complexity or pride. Who writes a love letter like this?
right.
Hold on a minute, it gets better. I want
Yes,
people to, because I'm in my glory right now. I'm having a
or
ball.
go for it,
I
tell
love
'em.
you because I had no other way than this. But you are so close that when your hand, God,
Yeah,
when
keep
your
going.
hand on my leg, um, you
Mhm,
were so close that when your hand on my leg is your hand on my leg is my hand.
mhm,
Your arms wrapped around me are my arms.
mhm.
Like what she's trying to say is the two of us have become one.
Come one, exactly.
Okay, so that's what we're
Mhm,
getting at, folks. That's
yes,
where she's going. I
mhm,
fall asleep on you. Let me tell you something. I can't even visualize somebody falling asleep on Vince McMahon.
yeah.
Okay, because that would be a creepy sight to be.
And the sense of heaven is the very thing that I want to give back to you, is
Yeah,
another quote. I mean, this is just one letter from what you were telling me. This is just the one
this
letter.
is just one.
One. Mhm.
This is one letter, and guess what, folks? It's not even the whole thing.
No. How many pages did you say that per each letter there was that you were telling
The
me?
average. This one here is 3.5 pages. The
Mhm,
average, and this is a short one.
mhm.
The average letter she wrote was between 4 and 7 pages.
Wow.
This one's right at 4. Like 3.5 pages is this one. Okay.
Wow.
We're talking about a woman who spent, I mean, you got to say this. She spent time writing letters. This is, again, it says it right here. Here we go again. Draft number
Number
24,
24.
which is even harder to begin after we spilled our hearts to each other a few nights ago. In some ways, I wonder what's left to say after a beautiful evening like that. One night,
One
and
night.
there's nothing else to say. And then I realized there's so much more to say to my best friend, my love, and my everything. She's talking, folks,
Vince
follow
McMahon.
me here. She's talking about Vincent K. McMahon. Yes, that Vince. That's Vince
Mhm.
McMahon. I can't keep a straight face, man. I'm so sorry.
I know, it's hard
Um,
to talk and to keep a
it's
straight face.
hard to keep a straight face when you read this stuff because when you realize you think that she's talking about some young, handsome, virile guy.
Right,
She's talking about a guy that's 78 years old,
right.
that's got a ton of fucking money, and apparently all kinds of depravity to spend it on. And so, folks, you're not going to have a GoFundMe anytime soon for Janel Grant or Vince
No.
McMahon because she's been well compensated, I assure you. Okay. She's probably the only multi-millionaire secretary in America at the moment. Um, Holy
I think
crap!
I feel like the reason that these letters were released is because they isn't he going to still be uh, the DA is going to start to go after him, correct? That they still can go after him for
Oh,
this,
yeah,
and that's probably why they released these letters.
she's going after him with a vengeance.
Mhm.
But I want people to know that it was not her team
No,
that got the letters released. It was Vince McMahon's lawyer that got these letters to go public.
right, to feel sympathy for him, I guess, in a way.
Well, they that was once you if for those of you who don't know how the legal system works, okay, you've got a process during a court hearing, a trial, if you will,
Right,
called discovery. And it literally is what it sounds like. It's where evidence is discovered. And you have to share that with the other team. So the prosecutor, if they discover something, they got to share it with the defense attorney. Likewise, if the defense attorney has something, he's got to share it with the prosecutor. Okay, so we understand that now. All right.
right,
So here's what happens. They come across these letters in this discovery process. And at some point, when it comes up before the court, the judge make a decision on it. Well, the judge said, "Yeah, we can do that. We can make this public now because both teams, both sides, the plaintiff and the defendant, they now have a copy of these letters, so it's public now.
right.
Now the lawyer has it, the prosecutor has it. Well, now who else is entitled to it? The public. You know why?
Everybody else is, yes.
Because it's a public trial.
Mhm.
It's being played out in the media, for crying out loud. How much public can you get?
Exactly.
What do we got here tonight?
Whew.
Leon.
So this will probably
Leon.
be
Oh, Leon, I love you.
right.
He's
Not to write
Louise
love
thing.
letters,
Leon says, good reason not to write love.
right? Yep. And this will be probably exhibit A or 1, 2, 3, whatever letter this one
And
is.
Leon Barfield is absolutely spot on. It's a great reason not to write love letters because remember something, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Absolutely.
And Amelia, why do you think, and I know you're going to give me the right answer, why do you laughing? Shut up. Why do you think this whole thing went to court to begin with?
Revenge and money.
Tell me. Tell everybody.
Revenge and money, and because she wanted him to get a divorce, because she wanted to be married to him.
Because he wouldn't leave Mrs. McMahon.
Exactly. So here comes the
Exactly
revenge
right.
card. Mm-hmm.
Of course she's playing the revenge card.
Of
What else
course.
is there?
Yeah.
Look, Janel Grant's not stupid.
No, she's not.
She said, look, I laid on my back for you, son of a bitch.
And a
I'm
lot
gonna-
more stuff.
And
of
I got
ugly
paid
stuff.
for it, but now you won't leave your wife. Now it's really gonna cost you.
Yeah.
Okay?
And she did a lot more gruesome
But,
stuff.
but wait a minute, but she discovered just how deep Mr. McMahon's pockets really are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Because Vince don't realize it. Every time he sells, and he's, by the way, he is out of stock.
Mm-hmm.
He sold every holding he's ever owned from the beginning. He is completely free of TKO stock. None. He owns zero. He is completely free, zero of WWE stock. He sold it all for somewhere between 6.5 and 7.5 billion with a B, folks. $billion.
Yes.
Between $6 and $7 billion. Okay. He's not, like I said, you're not going to have a GoFundMe anytime soon for Vince.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
Because he's got plenty of money. He'll die before that money runs out.
Mm.
And then everybody and their brother is going to be fighting over it.
Yeah.
Watch Paul and Shane and Stephanie watch Mrs. McMahon if she, survives it. Let me tell you something. People are going to come out of the woodwork saying, I was Vince's third cousin once removed on his father's side.
Right? Yep.
You know?
They're gonna be saying, excuse me,
They're
but I know
all
him.
everybody, they're going to, let me tell you something. You might even have some wrestlers stick their hands out for that. Don't be
Oh, yeah.
surprised if Billy Jack Haynes is one of them.
Yep.
You know?
And say, excuse me, but I think you owed me a little bit more money than
I
what
know,
you.
right? So this is craziness. I
And
want
then
to
the strange thing too isn't it, they are still married, but they're not living together. Of course, she's in
No,
Washington
she
too.
moved out. Linda McMahon,
Mhm.
as I read, and this is from CNN. Mrs. McMahon, Linda McMahon, who is she's the head of the Small Business Administration. She was appointed by Donald Trump, and she was kept on by President Biden.
Mhm.
But she's still there.
Yes.
Okay, she's the head of the Small Business Administration. The last thing she needs in that position is the headache of Vince.
Oh, absolutely. I
So
totally agree.
she left. They have had no contact with each other, not even through the children, not through Stephanie or Shane or the grandkids or Paul Levesque, his son-in-law, her son-in-law too. They've had no contact with Vince McMahon throughout this entire thing. He has become, for lack of a better word, Amelia, he's become a pariah, untouchable. They don't want, like you. It's like touching a leper.
Yes.
As soon as you touch a leper, you're infected,
Yes.
and that's what Vince is right now. He's a leper. He is. You can't touch him without being infected.
Right.
And Linda and Stephanie and Paul and Shane, they know that. Anybody that's close to that situation knows this guy's in deep straits, okay? He's in deep straits and he's got a lot of explaining to do.
Oh, yes. And I know that I think the one that's taking it the hardest, even though they're not gonna say anything right now, is Stephanie because she's daddy's little girl no matter what. Even though she's, she's helping
Yeah.
Paul run the business, but I think she's gonna be taking it the hardest right now. What is he
Leon
saying
says,
now?
I own more stock than Vince. Guess what?
You
You're
probably do.
Guess what, Leon? If you own one share of WWE stock,
Mhm.
you own more stock than Vince because he owns zero.
Zero, nada.
None. He's not allowed to.
What do you get in the taking this? What's your
Do you really want to know?
Yeah, I do because
Boy, you opened the Pandora's box on this one. Okay. First of all, on a serious note, okay.
Yes.
The Vince McMahon lawsuit came as no surprise to me when it happened because if you are an avid follower of WWE from the early days when it was WWWF
Yes.
to WWF to WWE, if you were old enough like myself to see the transition from his father, from the grandfather to the father to Vince, you could see a very, very remarkable difference between the grandfather and Vince's dad and Vince, the way
Right.
he handles business.
Right.
Okay. It was markedly different. It was a different kind of product. In fact, Vince said it himself. No longer are we going to be good guys versus bad guys. No longer are we going to be wrestling. Wrestling is a sport. And yes, there is sport involved, but we are also entertainment. And that's where he created the term sports entertainment. And he said it himself. This is wrestling. This is entertainment, athletic entertainment. Okay.
Right.
And which, if you call it athletic entertainment, guess what? You're not lying. But don't call it wrestling because it wasn't under Vince
No.
McMahon.
Mm-mm.
Is it wrestling now? Yeah.
It's
Paul
starting to
Levesque,
be. Mhm.
Triple H did in 6 months what Vince couldn't do in the last 20 years. That guy did in 6 months what Vince couldn't do in 20 years. Okay?
Right.
Because he had the support of his peers. Vince did not. Everyone, Amelia, knew. They knew what Vince was, what he was about. Look, think about that's why he hired Vince Russo.
Right.
Vince Russo was all tits and ass,
Right.
showing butt
Exactly.
crack.
Exactly.
You know, having Sable come out with handprints on her tits.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That's all there were. Okay. She came out bare breasted with handprints on her breasts.
Yes.
Okay. By the
Mhm.
way, those handprints belonged to her husband at the time, Mark Merrow. All right. But the woman came out basically naked on TV.
Yes.
Okay. With black handprints on her breasts.
Yeah.
This is the kind of guy you're talking about. You hear me?
Yeah. It was horrible back to
Vince
watch
Russo
wrestling
and
back
Vince
then.
McMahon fucking deserve each other.
Yeah.
And I got news for you. I've had Vince Russo on my show. He's been here a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's been here twice. He's been twice. He's been 3 times. He's been on my show. Okay. But we never talked wrestling. We never talked wrestling. We talked about the Beatles and we talked about Tiny Tim and entertainment. We were talking about entertainment.
Wow.
Okay. We never talked wrestling the whole time, which is I'm glad.
Right.
I'm glad we didn't talk wrestling. Because if we talked wrestling, he probably would have walked off the show. You
Yeah,
know?
because I know you would have set him straight because when he was on the show, wrestling was not wrestling. You were right. It was a whole total different, not wrestling at all, non-wrestling. That's what you would have talked about.
No, it wasn't wrestling, Amelia. I agree
No.
with you. It was Vince Russo used to call it Crash TV. And I often wondered what he meant by Crash TV, and I understand it now. You know how when somebody gets in a car accident,
Right. Yes.
they crash into each other. What do people do?
Yeah.
What do people do when there's a car accident?
They scream or it just
No.
die or
What do people do when I want you to
they
tell me
panic.
what
They
happens?
panic.
No, you're missing my whole point.
Uh-huh.
When people get into a fucking car accident, people stop and look.
Yeah, they stop and see what
They
people
stop
are doing.
and look.
Yeah.
That's Crash TV. They stop and look. It's like a train wreck. You slow down to watch.
Oh yeah, and then other people get into a car accident because they're watching the other car accident. Yeah.
Now you understand the point I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
You're worth waiting for. You're a little dense sometimes, but you're worth waiting for.
Well, it happens a lot here in Florida, so we're used to it. So that's why.
Folks, she dyes her hair dark. She's really a blonde.
Probably.
You know, yeah, I
No,
know.
it happens a
Probably.
lot here in Florida, so we're used to the car accidents here because people do
Just feel
stop and
sorry
look at
for her, folks, because she's married and she's got a son. Don't feel too sorry. She's got a beautiful daughter that just got married, but feel sorry for her kid and her husband. God bless her. Anyway,
I don't go out much. Okay.
I want to show you a little something. Take a look at this. Watch.
He was talking about Bahari being young.
There's John Laurinaitis. We're going to talk about John Laurinaitis. Interesting information came out today about John Laurinaitis too. So let's take a listen. Watch. Oh, by the way, Neil.
Oh, look at that mustache on him. Oh,
That is the ugly. I swear that's an ugly looking mustache. There, you're looking at 5 WWE divas. Okay, what do they
Mhm.
all have in common right now?
Let's see. Well, let's see. They used to be. I don't haven't watched wrestling very often, so you gotta tell me about that.
None of those women work for the company anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they've all been fired
Fired?
when they've all been fired when they when they when they signed complaints against Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. They were all fired for bringing sexual allegation charges against Vince and John Laurinaitis. That's what I was trying to get out of my mouth here.
But if why would they be fired if they had complaints against him? I mean, wouldn't they?
But
I
it's
don't.
easy. You give them enough money, you shut them up, and they go away. None of these women have been seen in years,
Mhm.
at least 3 years. Why? Because Vince has got deep pockets and a lot of fucking money. Don't forget, the man is a legit billionaire. Okay, he's worth like somewhere between $9 and $11 billion, which is a lot of money where I come from. You know, it might not be a lot in Florida, but in New Jersey, 9 billion is a lot of scratch.
Oh, absolutely, it is.
You know, but none of these girls, and let's be honest with it, they're young girls. I don't think there's a woman there over the age of 30.
I don't think so either. I think they were in their early 20s when they first started.
Maybe 23, 24.
Yeah.
They're kids. They look like
Mhm.
girls that just got out of college.
They do.
Take a look at this. Here's the question everybody wanted to know. Everybody asked the question. Who else knew? That's the question. Who else knew? And there's Vince with that pimp mustache.
Mm.
It just looks, I don't know who said to him that was a great idea, because it's horrible.
It is
And there's, of
horrible.
course, John Laurinaitis. By the way, John Laurinaitis is the brother of the late Road Warrior Animal.
Mm.
Okay.
Do you think that maybe Vince selling his stock to The Rock and making him what the power position that he is, Rock would say, "Okay, well, now that I have the power where I'm at, you can come in." Maybe Vince
No.
thought that. No,
No.
good. I'm
No.
glad he didn't.
No, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if he did that, it would violate every antitrust law known to man.
Good. I'm
That's
glad he
number
didn't.
one. Number two, it would reek of insider trading. That's number two. And the third and most important reason, the board of directors wouldn't stand for it.
Mm.
Remember, the board of directors is still the board of
They have
directors.
to have a vote with each
And they
one.
have to, exactly,
Mhm.
they have to vote on it. They have to vote. It doesn't just see, back in the day, it used to be Vince would make all the decisions.
Right.
Even with the board of directors, Vince would still make all the decisions. Don't work like that now. It doesn't work like that anymore, because now you are answerable to the board, because it's no longer WWE, it's TKO Enterprises. They own WWE.
Okay.
You know?
You're right, because everybody has a share vote instead of whoever had the majority share had made the final decision. I guess it's like
And
that
that's
now.
how it used to work. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's how it used to work. The only people now, it's a legit company. Remember something, WWE is a company owned by a big company.
Big company now.
It's
Yeah.
the first time that WWE was ever owned by a company. WWE used to be its own company. They had their own buildings, their own television network. They had everything they had.
Mhm.
They still have it. But now everything that they owned, hear me out, past tense,
Mhm.
Everything that they owned is now owned by TKO. They own UFC. They own WWE. They own boxing. They own all this other stuff. These combat sports. Okay, pride fighting. They own all of that, and they are major players in the sports business. You know,
Right.
and people don't get it that these guys play above board. They play rough, but they play above board. No, nothing gets done. No move is ever made without the board of directors voting on it and the shareholders having a stake in it. Okay?
Mhm.
I don't care if you own one share or a million shares. You still own part of that company. And when you do something like Vince did and betray the trust of your stockholders, then you can be, as was done, you can be removed as the chairman of the board. And they took him away from his company. He's no longer the boss of his own company that he started, because he did that to himself.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And just, think about if his father was here, what his father would be thinking right now, rolling in his grave right now, especially.
Awful. Vince McMahon Sr. was a great guy.
Yes.
Everyone says that. Let's watch. All right. Now, here's the letters
Yeah.
I have in front of me, folks. Um, I can't make this up, folks. Okay. So here's what Amelia and I wanted to bring you tonight. This is, those of you listening on radio, you're going to just trust me, folks. It's like old time radio. Just sit back and listen to the story. I'll go from about the third paragraph in here, Amelia.
Mhm.
Okay. It says true love cannot be found where it does not exist. Nor can true love be hidden where it does exist. It's not something that you find. It's something that finds you. This is Janel Grant wrote this, okay? I didn't like you the first time I met you, but I immediately knew that a missing piece had checked into place the moment I saw your face. I love you straightforwardly without complexity or pride. Again, I said this before, I'll say it again. Who the hell writes like that?
Hmm.
Right? I love you because I know no other way than this. But we're so close that when your hand is on my leg, it's my hand. Your arms wrap around me are my arms. When you close your eyes at night, I fall asleep on you. This is, and again, the thought of a person falling asleep on Vince McMahon is just creepy to me, because I know this. I've seen this guy years and years and years.
Right.
Okay, I even met him twice in my life. Once when I was 14, and again when I was in my 30s. Here's the thing, and listen to this. This is what Amelia and I both love. The thought of you makes my day begin. The tune of your laugh makes my heart sing along. Your smiles, your ups, your lows, your brow furrows, your joys and your woes are second nature to me now, like breathing in and out.
Mm.
Okay? Again, folks, this is the same woman that is suing him for untold millions of dollars.
Right.
Okay. Here's the other one that was interesting. I know that you said people forget who you are. There are so few people who actually know you for the wonderful, tender, vulnerable, heart on your sleeve soul that you really are. And then I stopped and I had to say to myself, okay, get a grip, Angelo. Get a grip, Mad Dog. She's talking about Vince here.
I was
And
kept
then
wondering.
it made me
And it
Yeah,
made me wonder, is she's still talking about this right
yeah, and it made me shudder. I thought to myself, she's talking about Vince McMahon
there?
here.
Mhm.
It's amazing how you meet thousands of people. They come and they go, and none of them get to know you, much less touch your heart. And then you meet one person and your life is changed forever. Now, that one I had to think about because I thought to myself, is she talking about Vince or is she talking about herself?
Right.
That's what's got me. I'm curious because you could, if you read that, you could read that either way.
Right.
You can say to yourself, well, she's talking about Vince. And then you can look at it and go, well, maybe she's talking about herself.
Maybe she's talking about herself in that person, thinking that that's her thinking that in that
Well,
way.
yeah. And that's where I was kind of
Mhm.
going with it.
Mhm.
But then I went back to it again and I thought, you know what? Yeah, I don't know, because you could really take that a couple ways.
Yeah.
Here's
Maybe
the
sh
other one.
Yeah.
This one really just kind of like I had to shake my head. Most of my life I have felt alone. This is Janel Grant, okay? The woman suing Vince.
Mhm.
Keep in mind, folks, this is the woman who's got him in court. Most of my life I have felt alone. Even when I was in a room full of people, my relationships in general have a pattern, and I end up pushing people away before they get a chance to hurt me. Well, now that's a human trait. We do that.
Right.
Sometimes we push people away, and sometimes we don't know when to go away.
Right.
You know. So, and then she says that was a toxic and lonely way to live through life, and it prevented me from finding my happiness. That was until I met you. For you, I'm willing to be vulnerable, take a chance, and tear down any wall that the actions of others may have put up. Now, that's a scary thing. Because
For
again, this is the
you.
same woman
Uh-huh.
that's got him in court
Mhm.
for suing him for, all this depravity. Well, apparently at some point, he got funky with her,
Yeah, for
but she didn't run away.
in other words, she's willing to do anything that he asks
That's
of her.
exactly you reading it the same way I read it.
Mhm.
I'm willing to do anything for you, is what she said.
Exactly.
And he went, oh, now I got you right where I want you, girl.
Mhm.
Hmm. And that's exactly what, if you read it, it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be vulnerable, she says. Take a chance and tear down any wall that the actions of other people made me put up. With you, I realize that that you're, I realize that you, hold on. With you, here you go. I said without you. With you, I realize that you never lose by loving. That's what she says, right? That's what she says.
Right.
Now, I don't know if this letter was written before all this depravity started. I don't know if it was written after. It would certainly raise my eyebrows if it was written after, because then you got to think to yourself, well, she knows what she's getting into.
She probably wrote this before she realized what she was getting into. This is
And
probably one
that's
of the
the
first
thing.
ones.
The funny thing about it is there's no dates on it.
No, I didn't see any
None of
dates
the
on it.
letters. And that's another thing that we got to
Mm-mm.
talk about after I'm done this, because I want to spend a couple minutes talking about that.
Mhm.
That there's no dates on any of these letters that came out. Which now I don't know if the dates were removed, or she didn't. Whatever she didn't do, they're not here.
They probably were removed, but maybe Vince had the sense, if he did, to write the dates that he received them. If he was smart enough to, he might have put the dates on. If it was me, I would have wrote the dates that they were sent to me, just in case I would have needed them later on. I would have wrote the dates
Yeah,
if it was
I
me.
agree.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. This is the final page of the letter, and this comes in on a sentence. She's talking about people getting chances, right?
Mhm.
Then she says, but this goes into the second. The second is that there are only so many chances at love, if any at all. That one is given in their lifetime. Okay, let me read this again because they got it broken down.
Right.
The second is that there are only so many chances of love, if any at all. That one is given in their lifetime. Again, I'm the luckiest person on planet Earth. I found you. And you, Vince McMahon, are in big letters, the one. Okay? For the yesterdays and todays and the tomorrows, I can hardly wait for. Thank you, my sweet beast. She calls him my sweet beast, she says. Thank you, my sweet beast. My heart is yours always and forever. Love, Janelle. And then it says, again, I'm the luckiest person on planet Earth. I found you. And you, Vince McMahon, are the one. So she actually names him there.
Mhm.
All right. She
Right.
names him there. Now, let's talk about this because this is really important
Right.
about which came first, the sexual depravity or the letters. I could see a case. I don't know, Amelia. I can see a case for both.
Yeah. I think
But
that
what's your take? You tell.
well,
Let's from a female perspective.
she fell in love with
Spend some
them,
time
and
on this.
she fell in love with them, of course, and then they started seeing each other, and eventually they had sex. And of course, he was probably a beast with her in the bedroom, and before he started making her do all this yucky stuff, and
Yeah,
she
like bark like a dog.
probably, and so she nicknamed him her beast, because maybe that's how he was in bed, and to her, he was a different person that we see, but maybe
Amelia,
that
if this guy started howling and
but maybe he did this for a reason to make her into his um prostitute, make her fall into his
wait, oh,
claws, if you
Are
feel.
you trying to let me? I don't want you to go there just yet.
Well, you know what I'm
Are
talking
you
about, right?
trying to say that maybe Vince was trying to mold her into his personal sex kitten?
Yes. And not only
Hold
that.
that thought because that young lady,
Mhm.
that thought has been shared by a few people who say that that's exactly what Vince was
Mhm.
trying to do.
Because look at her, how pretty she is, how young she is, and if he could recruit her, why can't he recruit others secretly?
Well, yeah, but again, though, we're not talking. I want people to see something. I'm going to show this again. Watch this. I want you to just take a look at this woman. Okay, look at this. She's a pretty woman.
She is.
Okay, she's young. She's maybe,
What, 23, 24?
yeah, maybe 24, 25 tops.
Mhm.
Maybe. I think I think his daughter is older than she is.
He is. Stephanie's older than her, from what I remember.
And look at this. Look at this man. He looks horrible.
Yeah.
He's got jet black hair, obviously dyed.
Yes.
He's got this pencil mustache. He thinks he looks like the Midnight Idol here. I don't know what gave him who said to him, "Hey Vince, grow this pencil thin mustache and dye your hair jet black."
And those.
It doesn't matter that you're 80 fucking years old, 78 years old,
Mhm.
right? Dye your hair black. First of all, it looks like he's trying, okay?
Right.
There's a video floating around. I'm sure you've seen it. It's Vince McMahon and The Undertaker over in Dubai for the crown jewel when that they did. And you mean, I don't know. You're looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm looking at his eyes, underneath his eyes. Look at that. It looks like he doesn't even sleep at all or something like
But
that.
no, he doesn't sleep. He only sleeps like 2 hours a night.
Mm.
Everybody says the same thing. Vince never sleeps.
Mm.
Well, guess what? It shows. It looks it.
Yeah, you could see it. And
You
then I
know?
look at her and then I'm like, okay, why? But I guess she doesn't see this. She sees this here, the money. That's all she sees, basically, to me.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, if you look at
Yeah.
her,
Mm-hmm.
now look at Vince there, and then you look at him here, and it looks like two different guys. That doesn't look like the same Vince. At least he looks rested here. He also looks like he's in better shape. His hair looks natural.
Yeah, it looks better right
But
there.
Vince here
Yeah.
looks like he's tired. He looks like his hair is just
His
like,
eyes are darker too, if you
well,
notice.
yeah, he's got circles under his eyes.
Yeah.
He's clearly not. Look at it. He's clearly not sleeping.
It looks like two different Vinces right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem, like I said, the problem
Mhm.
is he's a guy that's like he lived his life on the edge, okay? And you can only do that. Let's be
Mhm.
honest about it. You can only do that
Mhm.
for so long.
Oh, absolutely. You can only do it for so long.
Yeah, Stephanie's 47, okay?
Mhm.
This girl's maybe 25.
Yeah.
And I'm being generous
Yes.
because she looks like a kid,
Yeah, she does.
you know? She looks like she's old enough to be Stephanie's daughter,
Yeah.
you know? Because I know Stephanie and Triple H, I know Paul Levesque, Hunter is probably 51, maybe.
Yeah, they think they've been married for 20 something years already themselves. So yeah, they're old enough.
Yeah, so I mean, he's
they've been married
probably
long.
like 50, 51.
Yeah, they've
And
been
Steph,
married.
just a couple years younger, so they're in the ballpark, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this girl is really young. I mean, really young. So again, we're talking about a guy who's incredible career, incredible business acumen went up in smoke, burnt down beyond recognition because of his sexual depravity, because of his bad choices, personal choices that affected his business. We don't want you folks out there to make bad choices. We always want you to make the choice to listen to What's the Buzz, America's Best Popcast, and For the Record, and hear us on our new station at K-Pop. Listen to this. What's the Buzz Popcast welcomes K-Pop Radio in Seoul, South Korea. Welcome aboard and welcome to the Buzz. For expert bodywork and collision repair, there's only one place in Clementon, New Jersey. It's Bruce's Collision Center at 114 White Horse Pike in Clementon, New Jersey. Call Bruce at 856-783-1475 and tell him the Mad Dog sent you from WWTF Radio, global and around the world. Do you have sweaty balls? Or volleyball netty balls? It's time to make them ready balls. The Manscaped.com Lawnmower 3.0 will do the job and clean your knob with its patented no-nick head, so your head will function as desired. Enter promo code Wrestling Future for a generous 20% discount. That's enter Wrestling Future for a 20% discount. Manscaped.com and Wrestling with the Future, going balls to the walls with Manscaped.com and the Lawnmower 3.0, your balls will thank you. And so will we. And we are back with What's the Buzz, America's Best Popcast. I am Mad Dog DeCipio, joined by Amelia the Pitbull Chapman. Well, Amelia, this was an interesting show tonight. I'm glad we did this.
I'm just surprised that these letters came out when they did. I mean, I would thought that they would have come out from the very beginning of the
Well,
lawsuit.
I did question the timing of these letters. I
Mhm.
wonder. You see, they don't do anything accidentally. So there was clearly, I don't know the reason, but there was clearly a reason that they chose now to release these letters. It's going to be interesting to find out like why
Right.
at this time, because let's see, that everything broke in January, right? With this case,
Exactly, in
this
January.
is you may as well say this is May,
May, right.
because it's going to be May in a couple days anyway. So you're talking about 5 months. Why did it take? Well, 5 months for the letters to come. Well, I think I answered part of that earlier. You have to go through discovery.
Right.
Okay, so let's just assume that they just found these letters, let's say, in the last couple of weeks, right? Okay.
Right.
So they let them out. Everybody, each side gets notified. Okay, we got these love letters popped up, blah, blah, blah. All right. So now they're available. All right. But why now? I wonder what would, why would you think, like, use your inquiring mind here.
I mean, Vince McMahon, I mean, if he wanted to retaliate, he should have done it from the very beginning instead of waiting so long for these letters to come out. And if this letter is like this, I can just imagine how worse the other letters are. Are
I
they
don't
more
know.
intimate? Are they more or less intimate? I can't wait to see what the other letters
Well,
come out.
see, you have to. First of all, don't wish too much.
No, I'm just wondering,
Don't
are
wish
they
too much at one time here, because, first of all, I'm already a diabetic and I can't handle any more of that sugary shit.
Oh, I
In
know,
them
right?
letters. Because if this is a woman that hated him, I'll tell you what, you can't tell from that stuff.
No, you
'Cause
can't.
she was pouring it on pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. What 24th draft, something like that?
Yeah, my sugar went up like 30 points reading that paper. That's crazy. Anyway, so
I'm
what do we got
surprised
coming up? Tell everybody
I'm
what's
surprised that she didn't have any romantic music playing in the background while she was writing those letters. You never know.
you know what? When she was writing them, she probably did.
She probably did.
What do
Well,
we got coming up?
tomorrow we decided to go ahead and talk about Jack the Ripper, but we're going to also talk about H.H. Holmes. Go ahead and put the two together. So that way we can talk
Absolutely.
about that.
What's coming
And
up Wednesday?
after that, we're going to talk about the BTK killer as well. We're gonna go
Dennis
ahead.
Rader, the BTK killer. He's in the news again.
Yeah,
What did he do now? You'll find out Wednesday.
absolutely. And then you got a full day on Monday, May 6th.
I do. I got 2 shows. I have a daytime show with Rita Giganti. She is the daughter of reputed. I have to say reputed because they get pissy if you don't say that.
Right.
Reputed mob boss Vincent the Chin Gigante. They called him the Odd Father.
Mhm.
They called him the Looney Don. This is the guy that ran the New York Mafia from his bathrobe, walking around the block of his neighborhood.
Yeah, just walking around the block like if this is nothing.
A strange guy. We're going to talk a little bit, not a whole lot,
Mhm.
because look, the case of Vincent Gigante has been done and redone and overdone. I want to talk to Rita about her life.
Right. This is
Come to
what you
find out that Rita is a psychic.
Yeah.
And
And
I
that
know
one is gonna
Celia
be
will
at
be joining me for that show.
10 a.m. Eastern time on that one.
Yes, and you'll be joining me.
And then after that, you are going to be having boys on. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we got the boys' night Monday night.
Mhm.
Then we
Escape.
got what's on Tuesday. What do we got?
Well, that one for Monday night, don't forget, it's going to be Escape from Alcatraz. You're going to have some interesting guests.
Oh, I
on.
got Escape from Alcatraz with the guys that wrote the book.
Mhm. Yes.
It's called Alcatraz: The Last Escape,
Mhm.
written by Ken Widener and Michael Lynch.
Yes.
They will be my guest Monday night. Fascinating story of Ken Widener's uncles, who were 2 of the guys who escaped
Right.
Alcatraz. Clarence and John Anglin. They made it off the island. They were alive. So did Frank Morris make it off the island alive. How they did it, you're going to find out in great detail.
Yes.
Monday night. That's a 2-hour show, folks.
Yes.
And it's be a good show. It's going to be a long show. Going to be a great show. I'm looking.
Mhm.
And what else we got coming up next week?
May 7th, Tuesday, Epstein, dead or alive, or is he on witness?
Is Jeffrey Epstein in the witness protection program?
Mhm.
Some people are starting to talk now.
Yep.
Some people are saying, you know,
Could
I think maybe we
be.
know something here.
Yeah.
What do you think? What
Too
do you
many
think?
rabbit holes.
Do you think he's
Um,
like in the program with tech?
too many unanswered questions. I would say yes, because too many unanswered questions and how he supposedly died
That's
and what happened.
interesting. You say that too many unanswered questions. Here's the
Mhm.
problem:
Mhm.
nobody's answering any questions.
Nobody's answering anything.
They,
It,
you mentioned Jeffrey Epstein, and everybody shuts up.
everybody runs in all different directions. They're like not wanting
Yes,
to answer.
like okay, well, what's going on with this guy? What's the deal with Epstein? That not only do nobody wants to
Yep.
talk, but
Everybody
they
needs it.
clam up so fast.
Yes.
It's crazy how
Yes.
fast. Oh, Daryl's here.
Hey, Daryl.
Daryl, I tell you what, brother, your timing sucks. I love having you here, but we go on the air at 7, brother. We're just getting ready to. We're saying goodbye to everybody right
And
now.
then on the 8th of May, we're going to be talking about Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. We are going to explore the legacy and the impact, good and bad. Yeah, believe it or not, folks, there was actually some good that came out of Manson's craziness. For the legal system, it was a good thing. Not so good for criminals,
Nope.
but we don't want to be good to criminals anyway.
No, we do not.
But anyway, I will talk in more detail about that tomorrow night. So tomorrow we have what do we got again tomorrow night? No.
The H.H. Holmes
Oh,
and
H.H. Holmes and
Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper.
Mhm.
That quick, I forgot. Well, because I'm still thinking about this whole Epstein thing.
No,
I
and then
think
also with
Jeffrey Epstein. First of all, I'm going to show pictures. I'm going to show his cell. The whole thing looked staged. It
and then
just looked so bad. It really did. When Michael Baden, who you guys know Michael Baden is, we talked about him on the show. He is one of the premier, if not the premier, forensic pathologist in America. That this guy has worked on more cases than I even have the time to talk to you about. He's one of the very, very best in the world. He says Epstein wasn't hung. He didn't hang. Somebody killed him. That's what he said. That's what he said. He said the body. He didn't say Epstein. He said the body looked like it was purposely murdered.
right.
Okay. It's interesting he said that because he didn't say Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. He says the body was killed, which leads me to my photo that I will show you that is not Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody says, well, that's got to be Jeffrey Epstein. Not so fast, folks. Wait till you see this stuff when I'm going to present to you. Anyway, but we got a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah, and then whenever you say a certain person has passed away, you say that person's name, not the body. When a particular person passes away or gets killed or murdered or whatever, you say that person.
Dean really says sorry. No, don't be sorry, brother. Just be here at 7 o'clock and not 8.
I guess
8 o'clock, we're going home.
Yeah, I guess he's on Central Time probably.
Yeah, exactly. Daryl, what time zone are you in? Are you on the East Coast? Or are you in a Central Time zone? I'll tell you what time to be here. So when you get a chance, tell me what time.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that, Amelia.
Of course.
Because I want to say good night to everybody. Oh, so listen.
He's in California.
Oh, that's why. Oh, yeah, brother. When I listen to me at the beginning of the show, I say it's 4:00 in Los Angeles. It's 4:00. You got to watch us and listen to us. It's 4:00 in LA.
4:00 your time.
It's 4:00 Pacific, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. All right. That's why I give everybody Pacific Coast, LA, 4:00. Chicago, right in the middle of the country, 6:00. Right?
Mm-hmm.
New York, 7 p.m. And in Helsinki, it's 2 a.m.
All right.
Just in case you want to know.
And if you're in Japan, it's 10 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, folks, listen. For Amelia the Pitbull Chapman, for myself, the Mad Dog, we will see you tomorrow night on America's Best Podcast. What's the buzz? Tomorrow night, folks. Bye-bye.